Should you build Vigil? Short answer, no. Long answer, this entire video.
Bene, darò un'occhiata al tuo piano e vedrò se combacia col mio lavoro.
お前がドクターだな。俺はベッローネファミリーヌ。いや、俺はビジル。
My familia doesn't exist anymore. But that was the price we paid to buy change in Siracusa.
Winding road by way of selfless means.
Leon Tuzo Bellone, codename Vigil, is a 6-star tactician vanguard from Siracusa. A taciturn youth who is the last leader of Siracusa's Bellone family, and one of the mayoral candidates for New Volsini. In the events at Old Volsini he questioned the Mafia's role in Siracusa, realizing that it was time for Siracusa to abandon its feudal tradition, and work to create a better city free of the Mafia's influence. At one point through Operator Texas, as a representative of New Volsini, he formed a relationship with Rhodes Island based on medical needs, and also temporarily working as an operator, offering his combat, strategy, and leadership abilities. I might be wrong, but I think he is implied to be bros owned by Penance. Don't worry lad, I'll cheer you up with some pasta later. Anyway, Vigil is the free operator in Il Siracusano event, and he's also our first 6-star tactician vanguard. 2 of the previous free 6-star operator proved to be a very useful unit, and our previous tactician is one of the best crowd control operators. So how about Vigil? Let's see all about him first. Tacticians are also known as a summoner or sniper vanguard. This is because they're a ranged unit, and can summon a reinforcement within their range. And tacticians dealt more damage when an enemy is blocked by their summon. With tactician you pretty much got 2 units in one package. They also double as an aerial unit handler. Alright, this is his stats. Almost similar to a marksman, with low attack but quick interval. Compared to all tacticians in the global server he has better stats. But compared to Mulci's, Vigil has a slightly bigger attack but lower on defense. Okay, now I want to emphasize Vigil's DP cost. Without potential improvement, he's a vanguard with the biggest DP cost in the game. That's a bad news for a unit that is supposed to be deployed as soon as possible when the stage started. But you can ease the pain if you have all of his potential, which is easy to get. Now we're talking about his talents. The first talent of tactician determines how their summon work. In Vigil's case, he can summon a wolf pack within his range. To simplify it, the wolf pack will summon with 2 wolf shadows or life point. It can have up to 3, and will have a new life point every 25 seconds. For each wolf present, the wolf pack block and hit count will increase by 1. So at max the wolf can block 3 enemies and deal 3 hits to an enemy. It's quite awesome to block multiple low threat enemies, especially when they immediately charge to the blue box once the stage started. But here's the unsettling news. Vigil's wolf has poor defensive stats when compared to other tactician. This is certainly because a dev trying to balance the wolf stats with its ability to have multiple life. But it makes the wolves rather unsuitable to face a slightly tougher foe. Especially when blocking multiple enemies, the wolves are more fragile and easier to lose its additional life. But when that dangerous enemies appear, you probably already have enough DP to deploy more reliable units. After all, Vanguard's purpose is to hold back early enemy and generating DP. Also, the extra life mechanism somewhat makes the wolf a decent bait unit against a slow interval attack that can one-shot other units. For example, using the wolf to bait and tank episode 10 cannon, while generating DP to deploy more reliable units. Additional note, when a wolf got a new life, its HP won't be restored, and it can't be normally healed like most summoned unit. You'll have to use regeneration healing for that, or use Vigil's skill. Now for talent 2, Vigil and his wolves will ignore some of enemy's defense flat. when hitting an enemy blocked by the wolf. Well, certainly a good talent, considering he and his wolves attack damage and quick interval. And this is his potentials. No questions needed, get his full pot from the event missions. And currently, all tacticians don't have module. Now for Vigil's skills. For his first skill, like most tactician, this makes him generate some DP. And immediately get 1 life point for his wolves. If the wolf is already at maximum lives, this skill will recover its HP. If the wolf is defeated and recovering, it will instantly recover. It's a decent skill that works well with his wolf and his job as a DP printer. But on a DP generation standpoint, this skill is easily replaceable. And this skill doesn't contribute at all to his DPS. Now for second skill. This skill active when it's at full charge and after the wolf attacks an enemy. Vigil will generate 2 DP, the wolf's next attack will deal critical damage. And restore some of the wolf's HP. If the summon manages to kill an enemy with this skill, it will generate additional DP. This is a very nice skill that works well with all of his kits. From dealing bigger and constant damage, restoring summons HP, and generating DP. In fact, his DP printing potential is quite big with this skill. But there's also a big problem here. A problem that is similar to, or even worse than Siege's S2. Since it's automatically active and depends on his wolf, Vigil won't trigger this if the previous skill charge isn't spent by his wolves. Or when the wolf is defeated and currently recovering. Simply put, you will need a constant flow of enemies waves. And makes the wolf keep attacking. Which is bothersome during a long wave downtime. And you really need that DP or heal for the wolf. But also, when constantly fighting waves of enemies, the wolf might get overrun. And thanks to the wolf's short range, you can't even cheat it with Stainless turret. Now for his third skill. Gradually generates DP, hit enemy 3 times. Then he and the wolves will deal additional arts damage when attacking an enemy that is blocked by the wolves. It's a good burst skill, especially when you got 3 wolves. And it does works well with his tray. I also like to remind you that this skill makes him currently the only tactician that boosts his own capability instead of just his summon. Well, until Mulces came around, that is. But anyway, it makes Vigil S3 a suitable choice in a situation where you can only rely on Vigil to deal damage. Like when the wolf can't block an enemy because it's defeated and recovering. Or when fighting aerial unit. But like his other skills, this skill also got its problem. Poor initial SP and skill cycle. Not so amazing DPS, especially without his wolves. And no regeneration ability like his skill 1 or 2 leaves his wolves vulnerable. Now for skill mastery priority. If you make it this far, I'm sure you can understand why Vigil isn't a unit to prioritize to E2. And less of a priority to mastery. But if you insist, I suggest mastering his skill 3. Which is overall the most useful one, and less problematic. For his base skills. Skill 1 boosts clue search speed by plus 25%. And skill 2 boosts trading post order acquisition up to 40%. It depends on your reception room level. So, will Vigil become a good operator for your team? If he's a 6-star from Gacha, well, let's just say I want a refund. Aside from dealing damage and blocking more enemies that could go wrong, he got no other useful utility for certain niche. With his multiple problem, no very useful ability for endgame content. And quite easy to replace. You shouldn't prioritize to build him. Especially for newbies or those low on resources. But actually, he's quite good at Elite 1 for newbie, who is currently fighting below episode 7 or 8. But him being a 6-star means more material to raise him. He's not worth the development cost to E2 and beyond. And let's not forget his debut event consists of way too many new ops that you probably should prioritize first. That should be all. Adios.